Hey up everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 23 of the 2024 NRL season. Last week I got 6 out of 8 correct, so the last few weeks now I've been going 6 out of 8, 6 out of 8, 6 out of 8. So that's what I'm pretty much getting on a week by week basis. I thought this week I'd just go in front of the camera. Sometimes I just get tired of having to download pictures and then bloody crop and then do this and do that, and I just thought I'd just rather do it this way. So for this round there's some really interesting games. Let's start off with the first one, which is between South Sydney and Melbourne. This one's being played at Stadium Australia on the Thursday. South's in 15th at the moment and Melbourne still top of the league by 2 points over Penrith. Now in recent times Melbourne have dominated this fixture. They've won 8 of the last 10 matches against South in the league, and then also historically, since Melbourne come in 1998, there's been 40 matches played. Melbourne's won 33 of those and South have only won 7 times. 7. So South Sydney's record against Melbourne, let's just say it's fucking terrible. But anyway, going into this game, Melbourne had a shock loss against St George last week down there in Melbourne. First time ever at Amy Park that they've lost against that opponent. As for South, they had a loss against Cronulla. They were not really in that game, I think. Cronulla were too good in the end. Who do I think is going to win this one? I think Melbourne's going to win this game. It's very rare that Melbourne ever lose 2 games back to back. So I'm going to go for Melbourne to win this game, and I'm going to go for them to win by 13 plus. 2 matches on the Friday. The first one is between the Gold Coast and Cronulla Sutherland. This game's being played at Seabo Super Stadium. Gold Coast in 11th, Cronulla in 4th. In recent times, Cronulla have really stamped their authority on this fixture. They've won 9 of the last 10 matches against the Gold Coast. However, earlier in the year, when these two sides played in Coffs Harbour, Gold Coast won that one. Gold Coast coming into this game with a bit of form. They won against Brisbane last week, and now they've won 2 games on the bounce. As for Cronulla, still in the top 4. Are they a team that I think can win the Premiership? Not really, but I think definitely they'll play finals again this year. It's just a case of whether they can get to the latter stages. This is a really interesting game. Some people call this a rivalry game, which I find very funny. People like Clarkie's Rugby League column think this is a rivalry. It's not. But anyway, with the Gold Coast, I think as the season's got on, they've been improving and results have picked up, and they've been in a lot of games. Even the ones they've lost, they've been in. As for Cronulla, well, they're just kind of gliding along. But for this game, based off what I saw last week against Brisbane, I'm going to go for the Gold Coast to win, and I'm going to go for them to win by 1 to 12 points. The main match on the Friday is between Parramatta and Penrith. This one's being played at the Western Sydney Stadium. Parramatta in 16th and Penrith in 2nd. The head-to-head between these two sides in the last 10 meetings, Penrith have won 6, Para have won 4. The head-to-head overall since 1967, 118 matches played, Para's won 66, Penrith have won 52, and there's been 1 draw. The last time that Penrith travelled to Parramatta to play against Para at the Western Sydney Stadium was in round 4 of the 2023 NRL season. Para won that 17-16, and that was the game where Para were winning with literally seconds to go. Jimmy Paulo gave away a penalty and Nathan Cleary kicked that 2-point field goal right on the siren, and then Mitchell Moses kicked the drop goal in extra time to win the game. With Parramatta, best performance of the year I think last time out against New Zealand in Auckland, and it's given them a bit of breathing space between them and West Tigers for who's going to get the wooden spoon. And with Penrith, they had a hard fought win over Newcastle, and I think they've now won 3 or 4 games on the bounce. They're only 2 points behind Melbourne for the minor premiership. For this game, I think that's it. Look, Para, the last 2 weeks they've put in a lot of effort, they've looked better, but I just think against Penrith, I just think Penrith are a class above. So I'm going to go for Penrith to win by 1 to 12 points on the Friday. And the first match of Super Saturday is between Canberra and Manly Warringah. This one's being played at Bruce Stadium in Canberra. Canberra in 10th, Manly in 7th. In the last 10 meetings between the two sides, Manly's won 6, Canberra's won 4. And I will say the matches between these two sides at Bruce Stadium in recent times have been close, literally decided by penalty goal or a try or out like that. Now with Canberra, they had a very narrow loss against Canterbury Bankstown there at Belmore Sports Ground. As for Manly, they had well, they're coming off the bye, but before that their form's been quite good going into this fixture. So this is another really tough one to call, because both sides have got everything to play for. Manly's in the finals places, Canberra just outside. Canberra know that they have to just keep winning, same as Manly. For this one though, I think just with Manly coming off the bye, they'll be a bit more fresher, and I think that their form's been quite good of recent. So I'm going to go for Manly to win by 1 to 12 points on the Saturday. The second game on the Saturday is the Queensland Derby. It's between North Queensland and Brisbane. This one's being played at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. North Queensland in 6th at the moment, Brisbane in 14th. Who would have thought that at the start of the year? Brisbane have won their last 4 Queensland derbies against North Queensland. North Queensland have won 3 in a row in the league coming in this fixture, so their form's been quite good. Historically in the Queensland Derby, there's been 58 matches played. Brisbane's won 36, North Queensland's won 19, and there's been 2 draws. With Brisbane last week, what happened? I don't know. They started well. I was watching the highlights, they started great, and then it just all fell apart like a Chinese motorcycle. As for North Queensland, they kind of let things slip towards the end there. They let West Tigers get a couple of consolation tries. I don't think Todd Payton will be too happy with that. But I think if Brisbane don't win this match officially, their finals campaign or their chance of making the finals is over, isn't it? So this is absolutely must win for Brisbane, and it's a derby game as well, so form goes out the window. Doesn't matter how bad you're travelling when you play against your big rivals, just form goes out. And with North Queensland, I think they've really turned a corner. So for this game, I'm going to go for North Queensland to win. I'm going to go for them to win by 1 to 12 points there. On the final game on Super Saturdays between St George and Canterbury Bankstown. This one's being played at Cogger Oval. St George in 8th at the moment. Who would have thought that at the start of the year? And Canterbury Bankstown in 5th. Who would have thought that at the start of the year? Saints, I should say, I almost said St Helens. Saints have won 6 of the last 10 matches against Canterbury Bankstown in the league. Now, overall, there's a lot of history between these two clubs. This is a rivalry game. A lot of bad blood, playing lots of grand finals. So since 1935, when Canterbury Bankstown come in, there's been 176 matches played. Canterbury Bankstown's won 70, St George's won 91, and there's been 5 draws. So yes, I do consider St George and St George Illawarra to be the same team. Make of that what you will. But anyway, going in this fixture, both sides had wins. Canterbury Bankstown defeated Canberra at Belmore, and St George, massive win down there in Melbourne. First time ever at Amy Park that they've won as well. Very impressive performance. And I will say with St George as well, it was a good week all round, because even in the lower grades in the New South Wales Cup, they defeated North Sydney, who were top of the table at North Sydney Oval. So this is a really tricky game to call, because I've said this about St George all year. They're a team that one week they'll come out and they'll lose by 40 points or 60 points, and the next week they'll come out and beat someone that they're not expected to win. They're a tricky team, and they've improved greatly under Shane Flanagan. As for Canterbury, they know the job's simple. They just have to keep on winning, and they'll play finals this year. But based off, I think, what I've seen over the last couple of weeks, I'm leaning more towards Canterbury. I think they've been a bit more consistent than St George. So I'm going to go for Canterbury Bankstown to win by 1 to 12 points there on Super Saturday. On Sunday, the first match is between Redcliffe and New Zealand. This one's being played at Suncorp Stadium. Redcliffe in 9th, New Zealand in 13th. Now, in recent times, well, actually since Redcliffe come in, there's been 4 matches played between these two clubs, and New Zealand's won 3 of those. Redcliffe coming into this fixture having lost their last 3 matches in a row in the league, and New Zealand had a very embarrassing, disappointing loss against Parramatta there at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. New Zealand, I don't think will play finals this year. It's going to take a miracle for them to play finals. Redcliffe have been in a lot of games recently, and there's a couple of games that they probably should have won. So for this game, I'm going to go for Redcliffe to win by 1 to 12 points. And yeah, I mean the equation's simple for Redcliffe. They just have to keep on winning because they can't afford too many more losses, otherwise they're going to miss out on the finals again. And the final game in the round on the Sunday is between Newcastle and West Tigers. This one's being played at Marathon Stadium in Newcastle. Newcastle are in 12th, West Tigers bottom of the league. In the last 10 meetings between these two sides, Newcastle have won 7 of those. West Tigers come into this fixture having lost their last 6 matches in a row in the league, and their defence is fucking shocking. Really, really bad. In the last 5 games, they've conceded 216 points. 48 points, 28 points, 42 points, 58 points, 40 points. So I think that's why West Tigers are where they are on the table. I mean, they are scoring points, they're putting in the effort, you can't fault them for that. But just their defence is shocking, and with Parramatta winning over the weekends, it's kind of meant realistically that West Tigers, even though they got a bye up their sleeve, they're gonna have to win. They're gonna have to win 2 games at least, potentially 3 because of their for and against. So they'll fancy their chances this week against Newcastle, because Newcastle haven't been playing great this year. They did have a good performance against Penrith, just fell short. This is a really hard one to call, because I know that with West Tigers they might concede a few points in this game, but I think they're going to be right in it till the full-time siren. So I will go for Newcastle to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if West Tigers could spring an upset. So I'm going to go for Newcastle to win by 1 to 12 points on the Sunday. So there are my tips for round 23 of the 2024 NRL season. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know who you're tipping. And thanks to everyone that tuned in last week. The video was the 3rd most watched NRL tipping video on YouTube. So thanks to everyone that tuned in and watched that video. It's much appreciated. Thanks for all the support, and thanks to all the new subscribers. So anyways, this has been Rugby League History, and I'll catch you all later in the next one. Alright, ta-ra for now.